Okay, we're going to be on time. We're on time. If you would, church, there is a brief word in the house, for us. And if you would stand, our word comes from 2 Corinthians chapter 12. 2 Corinthians chapter 12. And if you've got your Bible, if you've got your smartphone, I'm going to give you time to get there. 2 Corinthians chapter 12. Beginning at verse 1. It's a very familiar passage. You've heard pastors preach from this text for years. And God's always got a way of showing you something that you missed in this. It is not expedient for me, doubtless to glory. I will come to visions and revelations of the Lord. I knew a man in Christ about 14 years ago. Whether in the body, I cannot tell, or whether out of the body, I cannot tell. God knows. Such an one caught up to the third heaven. And I knew such a man, whether it was in the body or out of the body, I cannot tell, but God knows how that he was caught up into paradise and heard unspeakable words which it is not lawful for a man to utter. Of such a one I will glory, yet of myself I will not glory, but in my infirmities. For though I would desire to glory, I shall not be a fool, for I will say the truth. But now I forbear, lest any man should think of me above that which he seeth me to be, or that he heareth of me, and lest I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations. There was given to me a thorn in the flesh. Church, say, a thorn in the flesh.
A thorn in the flesh.
The messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. For this thing I besought the Lord 3 times, that it might depart from me. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Amen. Therefore, I take pleasure in my infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecutions, in distresses, for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong. You may be seated in the presence of the Lord. Just for a couple of minutes, church, I want to talk with you from the subject. God will sometimes say no.
Amen. Amen. Yep.
I remember when my kids were about the age of yours, Sister Marcia. I had this one, you know there's always one, and I had this one that she didn't want to hear no. Everything coming from daddy's mouth always had to be yes. And I have to take a little blame for it myself, because every time I ran to the car, she didn't ask could she go. She was in the car before I got to the car. And her mother told me, said, you done spoiled that child. That's what it is. And I guess so. And she never wanted to hear no. And I thought about it, because I realized that telling her no was not showing a lack of love for her, but telling her no was showing her how much I loved her. Telling her no, was not because I was being mean, but telling her no was because I cared about her. And I believe I'm talking to parents in this room this morning that you will not declare that you always tell your children yes. You seen further down that road than they've been. You seen around the corner of their life. You know about this rough, cruel world, and there is no parent in here that will say, I always tell my children yes. You know what happens, in life. You know that there's some people out there, like that are demonic and they don't mean you or your children no good. So sometimes you have to tell your children no.
Amen.
Well. If you can understand what I'm telling you in the natural, that you have to sometimes tell your children no, then it should be no problem for you to understand in the supernatural that sometimes God has to tell you no. Now give him praise in this house now. Give him praise because it's going to get thick in here, because I'm talking to grown folk now. I'm past the children now, because there are grown folk in this house. You know it. I know it. You have gotten upset with God because God told you no. Can I get some real church folk and Christian in here that will admit that you have gone to God time and time again, asking God, praying to God, and God says no?
Yes.
Oh, preacher, we preaching good this morning.
Right.
Yep, we've been good. But God knows what's going to happen to you tomorrow. God knows what's happening when you get in your car 5 blocks ahead of you, and God has already said, I don't want you to go in that direction. No, don't go that way. Go this way. How many times, come on, have you heard God telling you no, and you didn't know why God was telling you no, but you found out later on when you turned the news on, there was a bad accident, and you said, oh Lord, I was just going to go that way. But God said no. And you ought to give God praise for telling you no. Because no was not because he didn't love you. No was because he did love you.
All right.
Church, sometimes God will say no. And there were many times even in relationships. Yeah, he was fine. Yeah, he looked good. But God said no.
Yes.
Y'all ain't gonna talk to me now, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. She had it going on. But God said no, because God understood that you couldn't take another heartbreak. God understood you couldn't take another heartache. God understood you done been through this before. You that last Negro, like that you had, you already went through, like him running through your life and running through your children's life and mistreating you, and now you meet somebody else, and even though you might like him, God says no. Good God. Now you ought to give God praise for saying no. He said no. He said no because I love you and I don't want to see you hurt.
Okay.
God says no. Maybe, just maybe, saints, sometimes if we can understand that every no is not a no, but sometimes no is a yes. And you got to be spiritually deep to understand what I'm talking about. That sometimes no means yes. What you talking about, preacher? I'm talking about when God says no, that means another door opens for you, that God got something better for you. Oh, talk to me. Preacher, I'm just doing the best that I can. When God says no, that means that it's not that person, but it just might be the next person, the next job. That's what I'm talking about. I'm thankful that God has said no to me so many times in my life, because God told me no, and then I met First Lady.
Amen.
Because he said no.
All right.
And I accepted God's no.
All right.
And this, my brothers and sisters, this text, you've heard it before, you've read it before. My sister, I know you have. But this can be described as a tough text for tough times.
Amen.
And I hope this is a tough text for tough people.
All right.
The Apostle Paul, we know the story of Paul. Paul persecuted God's people. He put them in pits. He stoned them. He was just horrific with God's people. And the Bible tells us that Paul was on his road, on the road to Damascus, and lightning blinded him. A bolt of lightning knocked him off his horse. What was God said? He was going to get permission to do some more hurtful, horrible things to God's people. And God says, no, you're not going to get permission to do that to my people. God says no by sending a bolt of lightning to knock him off his horse. And I'm telling you, quit worrying about your haters and your enemies, because just like God told Paul no, there's some people in your life that's been mistreating you, and God is going to say, no, that's not my job. No. Before you leave here today, I want no to be a word that you just love so much. See, because in life we have been so caught up into that word yes, and that we just love yes. When we hear yes, we put a smile on our face. But I'm declaring to you today, but the word no can be the best thing that ever happened to you. Ain't you glad you didn't go to the club that night? There was a shooting that broke out and somebody got shot, and it could have been you. Come on. But God said, no, you ain't going nowhere tonight. I'll make you sick, like where you can't go nowhere. If you just don't be hard-headed and go anyway. God said, no.
Go ahead on.
Paul, church. Paul was on the road, and God blinded him with lightning. And in this text, Paul says, I went to the Lord. Not one time, not two times, but I went 3 times.
All right.
Asking the Lord to remove this thorn from my flesh. Now, historically, some theologians say that this thorn that Paul was talking about was visual, meaning that when he was blinded, that he could not see anymore, that the lightning blinded him. And some historians, theologians say that he's going to God, asking God, give me the ability to see again.
Okay.
Well, then there are others that believe that this thorn was not visual, but it was physical. They think that Paul had some kind of medical malady in his members, his arm or his leg, because when he fell off the horse, he may have broken his leg or his arm. What I'm trying to tell you is nobody really knows. And that's why the Bible leaves this thing as a thorn in the flesh. It don't say where, don't say whether it's eyes, don't say whether it's arms, legs, Because you know, like I know, if some stuff happened to you regarding your health, you might wake up one morning and you don't know what it is hurting you. All you know is, I got a thorn in my flesh.
Yes.
Then some theologians seem to think that it was not visual, it was not physical, but it was moral. It was sin. You remember back in Acts chapter 7 when Paul told us, he said, every time I tried to do good, evil was always around. And so some theologians have taken that to mean that Paul was struggling with some kind of moral issue. However, the real truth is now that this text don't even tell you what his thorn was. So just for about 5 more minutes, church, if y'all allow me to just explore in my spiritual imagination and place a word, in your spirit this morning, what it is that this thorn could be talking about. Because this text tells us that whatever your thorn is, whatever your problem is,
Yes.
whatever your predicament is,
Yes.
that's your thorn.
Okay.
I don't know what your thorn is. You know what your thorn is, but each and every one of us in here got a thorn.
All right.
That burden that just won't lift up off of you. That headache that comes so migrainely hard upon you that you catch and it goes on for 3-4 days. I don't know what your thorn is. I don't know. Your children won't act right. That's your thorn. Your husband won't act right. That's your thorn. Your car, you just spent money getting it fixed and it still won't. But that's your thorn. I don't know what your thorn is. But what I do know is that Paul got tired of going through what he was going through, much like some of you, and he went to God not 1 time, not 2 times, but 3 times and said, God, if you love me like you say you do, I'm asking you to remove this thorn.
All right.
And in this text, church, Paul is struggling because of his thorn, and I just got 3 little points here that I want to give us this morning, because here's what I saw, church. Paul didn't ask for this thorn. Paul didn't ask for this predicament. Paul didn't ask for the pain he was going through. Paul didn't ask to go through a divorce. Paul didn't ask to get fired from the job. Paul didn't ask for his children to just grow up and insult and disrespect you as a parent. Paul said, I didn't ask for this thorn. It was given to me. How do you handle it, church, when you just woke up one day and all of a sudden you got a predicament? You didn't ask for it. You didn't bargain for it. You didn't pray for it. God just threw it on you and said, here, now you wear this problem for as long as I say, wear it.
All right.
Paul said, not only was it given to me, but it was grievous. That means this thing hurt, y'all.
Okay.
Paul was trying to say, I grieve. You know what that means when you grieve. That means you're in pain because of whatever that thorn is. You going through some stuff. Paul said, you don't even know what I feel like when I get up in the morning. You don't know. It's hard to walk with this thorn. It's hard to socialize when I got this thorn. It's hard for me to even get up and go to church when I got this thorn. Paul said, yo, this thing is grievous. You don't understand what I'm going through. And Paul was going through, and he said, you know, Pastor Johnson, this may be crazy, but I'm going to give God praise anyway,
Okay.
even though I got the thorn. Because I'm looking at a group of people still assembled here this morning. Every one of us got thorns, but we have come up in here to give God praise in this house. I don't understand it. I don't try to understand it no more. Why is it that you would have been okay, like to just stay home in the bed, pull the covers over your face, and say, God knows I'm feeling bad this morning. Come on, talk to me, somebody. You could have made yourself feel okay to stay home this morning, turn the TV on, and watch the TV preachers this morning and say, God know I don't feel good this morning. He'll understand. But yet you got up this morning and you came down here anyhow. You came down to the house of God to give praise, saying, God, even though I got this thorn in my flesh, I'm going to praise you anyhow. Give God praise in this house. The Bible says on 3 different occasions that Paul went to the Lord in prayer, asking God to remove this thorn. And you know what, Jerry? It was as if God had caller ID on his phone, and every time Paul called and God looked at him and said, there ain't nobody but Paul. I ain't answering that. I ain't even answering that deal. Y'all know what I'm talking about. God said, that ain't nobody but that Paul again. Y'all ever felt like that when you gone to God and you ask, come on, talk to me, church. I ain't in here by myself. You gone to God. You know how many years you've been coming to this serving God, praying, and God said, no. I ain't gonna do it. Now, to be honest about it, as I shared with you earlier, no really meant yes. Because God says a part of my plan is not just to provide for you, but to protect you. And in order to protect you, sometimes I have to say no.
All right.
And I'm looking at this text because God says that I got to allow you to keep this thorn because this thorn is good for you. And God, you got to help me with that one. What I'm going through is good for me. God says, yes, it is. He said, because I know you're struggling with that thorn in your flesh. Get your mind out of the natural. I know you're struggling with your situation. I know you're struggling with what you're going through, but it's because of your struggle that you get strength. That's why you got to be careful when you ask God to use you, because God will have to prepare you to get stronger to do the job that he has in store for you. And in order for you to get stronger, you got to be able to go through some struggles. Struggles make you stronger. Anybody that's been through some stuff, you know that the next time you go through something or face that challenge again, you have no problem with it, because what? I've been through this before, and I've been through that before. Anybody been through some stuff? Come on, talk to me. You done been through some stuff, and now when you face it again, you don't have the same problem that you had before. Why? Because struggle made you stronger. God says, I know you think it's not fair that you, my child, and all of them heathens that are ripping and running out there and don't even know me, but they're not going through the struggle that you're going through. I know you think it's not fair, but it's fair. Because this text says, in your weaknesses, that's when he is made strong. In other words, when you are weak, that's when God shows up. God doesn't show up on good times. You don't need to call him when you're doing good. Amen. God shows up when you're going through stuff. God loves to show up because God gets glory out of pulling you out of your struggle. That's why God puts you through a struggle. Because he wants you to be able to stand up like this lady, and that lady, and one day give your testimony about when you went through what you went through, and he wants you to be able to tell somebody and give God praise and glory for what he put you through. Let me put it this way. I'm getting ready to close this out. Let me put it this way. Every creature, Tamara, every creature that God created has to go through a struggle to survive.
Okay.
Did y'all hear what I just said?
Yes, sir.
Every creature on the face of this earth, in the jungle, every creature has to go through a struggle to survive. A caterpillar struggles to come out of its cocoon.
Yes.
It struggles to break free and become a butterfly.
Yes.
It's locked up in a cocoon. Come here, let me talk to you. You are encased and locked up in your situation.
Okay.
You tried to break out, but God says no. But you can't throw in the towel. You can't stop fighting that butterfly. He's fighting to get out of the cocoon.
Yes.
Because he knows that one day he'll be able to get out and he'll be able to flap his wings and fly. All I'm trying to tell you this morning is you got to keep fighting to break out of your cocoon. You got to don't stop punching, don't stop kicking, don't stop fighting. Whatever your situation is, keep fighting, because when you break through, when you get out, you ain't gonna just be able to walk, you ain't gonna just be able to run, you gonna be able to fly. Is there anybody in here that wanna fly? Come on, talk to me. Anybody wanna come on, talk to me and fly? The doors to the church are now open. Come by letter. Christian experience. Candidate for baptism. The doors to the church are now open.
Yes.
I don't know where you are as far as being covered by his blood, by the word, being covered and knowing that I got a pastor I can pick up and call
Yes.
when I'm going through something or what's up. I don't know. All I can tell you is this, and I promise, and there are people here that will attest to the fact that I have kept my promise, that just like God, I will be here for you, stand with you, support you, and help you whatever it is you're going through. You need to be covered. You need to have a church family, not just having to call the pastor, calling each other. Somebody you can call and talk to about what you're going through. The doors to the church are now open. Come by letter. Christian experience. I'll stand with you. I'll be with you. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. God did not give me a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. And because I ain't afraid of nothing and nobody. You better believe you can stand behind me and I'll protect you and fight for you all the way. That's the kind of pastor I am. And it's not because of me. It's because it's a God in me. God gave me the ability, the power to be able not just to teach you and to preach to you, but to protect you. And I stand here now that you keep coming. Keep coming. The doors to the church are open.
Come to Jesus.
Come